All right, welcome to part 2. I'm so sorry, my recording stopped at 15 minutes. So we'll just continue with this, starting here. So intraprenneurship. So this is really the aspect of where the nurses can improve health services and cost effective into the healthcare system. Nurses are being encouraged and practice their full scope and take leadership skills within here. Here is a reference from the reading. All right, so intraprenneurship. So what does that look like? Well, it really started with Florence Nightingale, was the first nurse, that was an entrepreneur. Really, think about the aspect of her kind of innovative ideas, saving the soldiers, changing that environment, implementing that better hand hygiene, for example, water, right? And she was able to actually save a lot of soldiers. So her innovative idea was her own personal kind of way of pursuing better health for those soldiers. This individual is self-employed. They work independently and accountable for their own clients, whoever the service might be. They really develop new ideas, develop new ways of delivering service, a new product maybe. And really they look at that overall health of that humans, as in, okay, what can I create? What can I implement that will better health? They have a personal vision and a passion for what they're doing. So let's look at some advantages and disadvantages of that entrepreneurship. So advantage would be you're your own boss. That's awesome. Some people will love that, right? Nobody really tells them what to do, how to do it, and they can use their own creativity as to the max way of kind of thinking and implementing. There is an increase of income. There's a huge salary potential, as this is not capped at a certain, rate per hour or per year. So this is really individuals that, can create something and implement it and really benefit from it as well as financially, but also for their clients, right? This is a chance for them to be creative, innovative, and original. The disadvantages for that would be, if they have a product they worked on it for a really long time, but they're not able to kind of implement it. They don't have a buy-in, so there could be really no security of that pay for them. There's no health benefits. This could be really long working hours, working evenings, weekends to, implement those strategies that they've created. And really, when you're working alone, your decisions are made alone as well. Let's look at the social entrepreneurship. First of all, hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. This will be on your final exam for sure. So this is the most entrepreneurship that are commonly viewed as a business venue intended to achieve the financial gain in nursing. This is really looking at that good health outcomes for most peoples in the world. So just remember this, you have this individual holding the world and they have a tree with light bulbs, with many different ideas here. So looking at that larger aspects of society and implementing those great ideas for the better health of larger populations. They focus on creating social return. Notice a need for development of way of remediating certain issues, gaps, or needs that they have identified. A leader and a change agent, who this person is, that is pursuing their innovative and sustainable approaches and generate those solutions. Okay, making new ideas stick for that entrepreneurship. So you've got 6 different things here that I quickly will just focus on. Social currency, so determine how it makes people look. So innovative, creative, talk about the product ideas. Triggers, so creating reminders for people to talk about those products. Okay, so how do you do that? Emotions, so utilizing emotion content into that care aspect. public? How do you keep those ideas visible to the public? How do you implement those? How do you, motivate others to talk about those ideas? So that's under stories. And create an innovative, fun working environment, simulated positive, sustainable change. Okay, let's talk about now apprenticeship. So right here, apprenticeship. So this is salary-based employee that works for a company, but they're continue, having that innovative aspect that they like, but now they are, working for somebody, implementing some of those ideas that they have. This could be at a hospital or nurse-led clinic, for example. This could be develop those practices and within the organizational framework, and could, have the benefits associated with innovative practices within the employer. Okay, let's look at some advantages and disadvantages for apprenticeship. So advantage will be ability to stay in a well-known environment. So, you come into work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, that's your environment. This is where you work. This is kind of where you get your salary. This is, where you are guided by what you can and cannot do. So you're able to use that organization name, resources, knowledge, and access to customers and infrastructure that is already there. The disadvantage, of course, is if you have a good product, the organization will take the credit for it versus you taking the credit for it, right? You're not your own boss, and you are limited by those structures and policies of the organizations. So let's look at some similarities and differences between the two. So intra and interpreneurship. Similarities, it really involves opportunities to recognize it's a unique business concepts, products, process, and services. It has the window of opportunities and requires risks. Both require risk, right, to do that. The entrepreneurship requires a risk as well. When you're working for the company, you might be good at something, or might be whatever you've created is not that necessarily great, but the risk and the responsibility the organization takes, for that, and you continue to receive the actual paycheck and potential for further development of different ideas. Okay. The difference is that one is, you're your own boss, and the other one, you work for somebody. The entrepreneurship sustains the outside environment, where the intra has a buffer from the organization. So has a little bit of a lenient from the organization. Okay. But both have the advanced knowledge level and skills. Their individuals need that self-confidence, courage, integrity, self-discipline, and the ability to take that risk, right? The risk for, sometimes it could be a failure, and sometimes you could be really good at what you are doing, but you are taking risks either by yourself or working for somebody. So barriers of self-employment, lack of recognition, maybe, for what you are doing and how you are implementing that with new ideas, lack of safety net as well. So let's move on to look at working in a teams. So working in the teams, we've got the two intra-professional collaboration and inter-professional collaboration. So intra, this is the multi-member of the same profession working together to deliver the quality healthcare across the different settings. And interprofessional collaboration, so this is partnership between the teams to provide the care for the patients, right? Participatory, collaboration, coordination, sharing decisions around the health and social issues, and moving forward, teams will need to include computer science, software engineers, business analysis, and healthcare professionals as well. So, interprofessional care, what did this look like? So think about an example where you work maybe, or if you've worked in a prior to school, for example, and who made up the teams? What were the differences? What worked well? What didn't work well? Maybe ask why. And what surprised you about it as well? Okay, so something to reflect on. But here we have the collaborative practice we need to have. So really, you've got that collaboration right in the middle, right? And you've got client care, and not only client care, but client-centered care, evidence-informed, access, epidemiology, social justice, and what guides us with our ethics. And this is from CNA 2011. This one is kind of going into the details that I provided you here, okay, but a little bit more into what that actually means. So I ended off with ethics. You're welcome to read through this, but I'll just read through the ethics. So it brings its own set of competencies and learn from each other in a way that can enhance the effectiveness in their collaborative duties. Okay, read through the rest as well. So concepts related to collaboration, you've got that sharing, respect, partnership, trust, interdependency, power, assertiveness, and communication. It really is a key, right, when you work in those teams. Even related back to, the teams you are working on your assignments for the change initiative, right? Active listening, that effective communication skills that both facilitate information shared and decision making. I've included this in here, so have a look at that. Maybe you've looked at this before. This is from National Interprofessional Competency Framework. You've got that inter-professional collaborations right in the middle. So what is the goal? The partnerships between the teams, healthcare providers, and clients, participatory, collaborative, coordinating approaches, shared decision-making around the health and social aspects. You've got that role clarity that needs to be part of that, team functioning, interprofessional conflict resolution. So how, if there's a conflict, how does that manage as a team? And collaborative leadership. So who's the leader? Is there a defined leader? How do we work through that, incorporating into those different solutions that you're coming, or working together with ideas as well. Okay. So what does the nurse bring and need to do within the team? Really needs to have that holistic understanding of the personal needs, right? Working alongside the patients, we have a really good understanding what the individuals need. Unique body of knowledge. We are our own profession. We bring that unique body of knowledge into working with collaborative other teams. Advocate for our patients, right? Advocate for the person that you're taking care of, such as clients, families, both in the hospital setting and communities as well. Demonstrate and articulate the nurse's role, knowledge, skills, and confidence within what you are doing. And be assertive and cannot be silent. So what that means is when you are working within those teams, advocate for your patients, your clients, or your families or communities, what they require from you, and as well as from the team, the interpersonal team. And embrace the technology, right? We are moving into more technology every single day. Embrace it. What is there available? How do we can implement all of that into our aspects of that care? And next week we'll be in class. See you in week 10, but I'm going to go into a little bit what is required of that week 9 discussion forum, and to prepare for that discussion this week. That will be open for you. Make sure you meet the deadlines of that. Make sure that you follow what the guidelines are, and I'm going to go over them with you in detail in just a few minutes. And remember that marks cannot be made up if you did not participate in the discussion. And if you have any questions, of course, reach out if you need any help. All right, so you are placed in randomly selected groups for the discussion post for this week 9 activity. Create a new discussion thread and make your first post describe the new role of the nurses in the future based on the course readings, this recording, the PowerPoint presentation. It is so important that you read through what is required before actually answering if you want to receive that full marks. When responding to the classmate with your second post, do not create a new discussion post. Instead, reply to that classmate. So let's look at what that actually means. So if you open this up in your week 9 e-class, and you will have a description of what is required, right? So Canadian system, you've got one reference here, another reference here, which is outlines the human decision making and being physically present to providing patient care, right? So you have to understand both of these articles and incorporate them into your discussion, into answering the question. So you will need to do 2 posts. Make sure that you watch the deadline. There's a initial deadline posted. So open up the discussion, see what the initial post is, and you have about a week or just a little bit over a week to complete both the initial post, that is maximum 300 words, and the reply that is maximum 200 words. So let's look at number 1. So this is your initial discussion. Formulate a post based on readings, outline presentation, videos, and content you have learned from this leadership course. To create those new roles, focusing on the nurses in changing healthcare environment with advancing technology and intra-professional leadership role. So you've got 2 things here, right? Advancing technology and intra-professional leadership role. So make sure you incorporate that into that first initial post. Nurses often lack the belief that they can create their own roles in driving effective solution. Dream big, aim high, and be bold in creative, new, innovative roles within that BSc nurses rather than the traditional point of care role. Maximum 300 words of your own words. Anything that you are referencing or using direct quote, which you really shouldn't be using direct quotes, but rather synthesizing what you have read. And if you put the reference as, for example, Booth 2016, that will be not counted towards your 300 words. But you do have to reference, right? It is clearly stated here that you have to read, read the readings, online presentations, videos, content, and I've pointed out to you, you're referring it to at least 2 different things, advancing technology and intra-professional leadership roles. So those are your key to incorporate it into that answer of that 300 words, okay? In the second posting, you need to respond to the classmate with a question based on the postings or a comment of their ideas. So you can't just say, oh, yes, I understand. Really nice job in creating the new innovative nursing job within the long-term care. No, well, how does that relate to the videos you watched? Okay. I'm not going to give it away, but, watch the videos that are embedded into the PowerPoint. Okay. A couple of the videos actually have some aspects in working for the being in the long-term care and incorporating AI and robotics, right? How does that? So when you are replying to your classmate, incorporate that. This is where you get that full maximum possible grades. All right. And do not create a separate thread because we need to see where you are replying to whom, what they said in the original post, and kind of what your idea questions are based on the readings and as well as what they've commented on. And this is 200 points. And also the 200 points are of your own words. It does not count towards your references that you are using within that. Okay, so marking rubric, nice and simple. It's out of 10. It's worth 4% of your overall grade. If you did not post at all, so no posting on e-class by the due date. So make sure you do meet the due date. Okay, you'll get 1 to 4 points. This is the initial post. It's not posted within a due date. So once again, there's different due dates for the initial post and the second post. But the posting is answered vaguely, demonstrate minimal thought without consideration of the readings. So you did not incorporate it. You maybe just came up with some new ideas on your own, but really did not incorporate any of the readings or videos that are embedded into this week's discussion or even throughout the course, right? 5 to 7. So somewhat, but not completely answered and responded to the classmate missing or did not completely complete the substantial post. So this one would be, you did a really good job in answering the first question as in your initial post, but your second one, you were just vague about kind of answering and you did not pose that question related back to the course readings, and maybe you were just did not include the references at all, okay, into that. So it does not demonstrate that you have read and what is required for the this week's discussion post. And then anything between 8 and 10. So this is both postings are substantive and offer throughout representation of what you have learned, that you have read what is required, you have listened to the video, you have listened to the little videos that are embedded, the YouTube videos embedded into the presentation, and you show a clear connection between the concepts and the readings. Okay, so that means clear connection. And this does require for you to reference, right? To show that clear connection. Because if you, are vague about it or you mention it but didn't reference, that could be also a plagiarism, that you're using somebody's idea, as in, from your readings, but you did not reference. So that could be considered definitely a plagiarism. All right, so hopefully this is detailed for you. Focus on these 2 answers, but only after you do all of the readings, online presentation, videos, and content from today's class, but as well as, throughout the course up to today, up to week 9. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, good luck, and I'm looking forward to reading your posts really, this is your creative side that can come through. Dream big, aim high, and be bold and creative with innovation ideas for those new roles. Okay, thank you, and have a wonderful the rest of your week. See you next week, week 10.